Hey guys, my name is Adriana Monroy, and this is my interview with a youth presentation. It is a PowerPoint that I put together, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, let's get it started here. Okay, so this is my cover page, interview with the youth. My youth is an 11-year-old boy. He's a 5th grader. He likes to play Fortnite with his friends. He likes playing with RC cars in the street and in his backyard. He also enjoys riding his skateboard both at home and at the skate park. He's very outgoing. He was quiet at first, but then he was more talkative, and then he's actually very outgoing. He doesn't see himself as a child, but he also doesn't consider himself a teenager either. He's kind of like in between, doesn't really know how to identify with his age. He's confident in himself and knows what he wants and likes. I connected this with synaptic pruning because he's interested in certain things, so he's growing certain neurons and paths as he continually engages in these things that he likes, as he prunes out the synapses that he no longer needs. He's witty. He had many witty responses and things to say. He's also comedic and funny. He joked around a lot as I was talking to him. He was impulsive. We played some Connect 4, and he made quick decisions without thinking. He told me many times that he does what he wants when he wants to when I asked him about his decision making. He doesn't think too much about choices. It's that I connected that as a result of immature cerebral cortex. When I asked about how he decides what he wants to do, he just says, I just do whatever I feel like doing. So there's really no mindfulness or logic behind many of his personal choices. He just makes his decisions impulsively. I also asked him what kind of protective gear he wears when he rides his skateboard, and he said, sometimes a helmet. So I connected that to increased sensation seeking and also increased desire for risk taking that takes place during adolescence. Okay, so here we go. Move towards peers. I kind of gonna emphasize on that a little. When we were talking about school, his favorite time at school, during school, is recess because he gets to be with his friends. And he said that he prefers spending time with his friends during the free time, during any free time that he has. And I connected that with movement from dependence to independence because he spends much of his time with his friends and doesn't spend too much time with any other adults like parents or teachers. Okay. His friends are much like him. He's made strong peer relationships with other youth that share his same interests and hobbies. So here on this slide, I talked about the cerebellum and how parts of the interview connected with that. So even though this part of his brain starts to develop during his first year of life, my youth uses this part of his brain when he skateboards and strengthens through practice. Onto the limbic system and amygdala. When I asked him about how he responds when his parents won't allow him to do or have something he wants, he told me that much of the time he feels extremely angry and he'll start yelling and throwing things. Sometimes he'll stomp hard onto the floor when he gets upset or doesn't get what he wants. And that's the limbic system taking over his emotional responses and making it hard for him to think rationally and respond rationally. Onto the cerebral cortex. This part of the brain relates to my youth's impulsive decisions making and his sometimes lack of reasoning in his choices and reactions. It also relates to his mindfulness, or lack of in this case, such as when he reacts to his parents in an inappropriate way and how he isn't very mindful about how it's going to make them feel. Okay, so a little about the connection to sociocultural theory. These are some of the ways that I connected sociocultural theory to some of the content in my youth interview. He learned how to skateboard by watching others. He would watch people at the skate park and also on YouTube. He learned how to play Connect 4 by playing with his parents often. His emotional responses are learned from the social interactions he has with his parents. And he's taught by his parents that his emotional responses are okay because they allow him to respond that way without any intervention. He learned from his peers how to resolve arguments quickly, so his social interactions with them helped him process internally how to deal with problems. Okay, so these are some of the influences from my youth. Some peer influences on peer interactions. For example, he hangs out more with his friends that share his interests and thoughts. Also, there's peer influence on his problem solving. His friends don't argue much, so he doesn't argue. They resolve things quickly. Also, family influence on emotional responses. His parents' response to his emotional reactions makes him think it's normal and okay. So when he has disagreements with others, it's likely that he'll react thinking that he'll get his way. Some family influence on problem solving. His parents allow him to respond emotionally and then go to his room to play video games. He comes out when he feels like it, and so later on, when he has a problem with someone else, it's likely he'll not use communication to solve it. And then lastly, family influence on social interactions. He may treat others how he's learned through practice. A few things that I've learned from this interview are to encourage healthy problem solving, so children can understand some healthy ways to solve their problems, mostly through communication. Redirection is important for behavior. So when I see inappropriate behavior, it's important that I address it and then redirect it. Also, social interaction is important for learning. So, like say, social interaction with peers in a healthy way will help children to learn how to interact better. And then I prefer teaching the littles. That's another thing that I've learned, the little ones. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching this.